Hey guys, it's Chris here from Wombat Bets with the latest episode of Best Bets for UFC Long Island Ortega versus Rodriguez. Now, last week we had a 10 units plus profit weekend on Dos Anjos and Fazeev, and we're looking to keep that going. So before we get into things, I'd love it if you guys could like and subscribe, support the channel, and keep things going. So now we're going to get into our best bets for UFC Long Island. So first up, we've got Punahele Soriano versus Dolce Longjiambula. So we'll go into Punahele first. So one of his two finishes in the UFC was against Oscar Piechota, who's finished in every single UFC fight that he's fought in so far. And he just really has a shitty chin. He gets folded really easy. He's got terrible striking defense. He just hangs his chin out there like he wants to get knocked out. So there's not really heaps of merit in that one. And then he knocked out Dusko Todorovic in the first round. So Dusko just thought he was really Anderson Silva out there. He was dropping his hands, moving around, trying to dodge punches, and he got dropped twice by Punahele, and he did not raise his hands once. He just kept putting his hands down, trying to dodge punches, and then eventually he just got folded up like a lawn chair. Terrible IQ behavior. He's not in the UFC anymore either, for obvious reasons. Then he went on to fight two decent fights in Brendan Allen and Nick Maximov, who are both quite good fighters, decent chins. Both of those fights went to decision. Now, in both of those fights, I wouldn't say that he gassed, but he definitely slowed down by the second round. So he's reasonably hittable, but he's got a really, really solid chin, and I haven't seen him rocked really yet in the UFC. Now, moving on to Dolce, he's been knocked out once, and that was by Magomed Ankalaev, which was actually upper weight class. This is obviously at middleweight. That was at light heavyweight. And Ankalaev is just an absolute beast, probably going to be champion one day. So, yeah, it's pretty tough getting knocked out by him, but yeah, I think he's got a pretty solid chin. He slows down heavily after the first round and starts to gas slowly as the fight goes on, but he still keeps a consistent pace. It's just not a very high pace. There's really no sub-threat from either guy. They've both got decent takedown defense. Dolce's a black belt in judo, and then Punahele's just got very good takedown defense. He's quite good on the ground too. So what we've got here is the over 1.5 rounds, and we've got the Soriano decision. Now, I can definitely easily see this going the distance with a Soriano decision. He's easily the better fighter, and he's probably Dolce's best fighter, whereas that's definitely not the case for Punahele. He's young, he can still learn, and Dolce's very one-dimensional, 5 years older, and he's just not likely to get any better. So we've got 2.9 units on the over 1.5, and then we've got 1 unit on the Soriano decision here. Now, next, we've got Emily Ducote versus Jessica Penne. So, Ducote is just coming over from Invicta. She was the champion over there at the weight class. She really offers more from a striking perspective than either of Penne's last fights. She plays a lot of volume. She's got good counters. She's not, I wouldn't say a pressure fighter, but she definitely moves forward and holds the center of the octagon. She's got pretty good grappling and pretty good takedown defense from what I've seen. Now, Penne, I think she's 11 years older. She's slowing down. She looked terrible after 2 rounds with Gonades in her last fight. And Gonades was just landing whatever she wanted at the feet. She was throwing straights, and every single one was getting through. She just couldn't disengage from the clinch, and that's really where she lost the fight. It was actually a split decision, and arguably she did actually lose that fight. I thought it was pretty close, so it's either or. And then she fought Karolina Kowalkiewicz in her last fight, submitting her by armbar. Again, Karolina's not a noted grappler. She got taken down straight away, fell into guard, and then got submitted after not very long. And I'm pretty sure she broke her elbow. It was pretty tough submission, that one. But yeah, I don't really see any way for Penne to win this, bar a reasonably lucky submission, or she falls into something. But she doesn't hit very hard. Ducote hits pretty hard. She's got and half of her fights have been won by finish, and I really don't see any other way than this coming off. We've got 2.5 units on Ducote to win at -150 or $1.67. So next fight, we've got parlay, which we'll go through really quickly. So we've got Burgos and Lemos for 3 units at -122 or $1.82. And then we've got Li Jingliang and Muslim Zalikov at over 1.5. And which is parlayed with Burgos and Jourdain at over 2.5. And that's 2 units at +115 or $2.15. So on this one, I think Burgos is the much stronger, much more skilled fighter. He's got a cardio for days. His grappling is really good. He's a lot stronger than Jourdain is, and he's really going to get this fight wherever he wants. He's got a great chin, super durable. Same as Lemos, I just think she's a far better fighter. I don't really see her losing this in any way. Now, the second parlay is Li Jingliang and Salikov over 1.5, and Burgos Jourdain over 2.5, as I said before. So Li Jingliang and Salikov both have never been KO'd. Neither offer like a massive sub threat, and I definitely see this one going the distance. Great takedown D as well. Now, Burgos Jourdain, both super durable. Burgos has only got 2 really late KOs to Calvin Kattar, Edison Barbosa, so 2 great fighters. And Jourdain has only been finished once, and that's via sub. Now, the reason I've taken this over 2.5 and not just to go the distance is between them, they've got 5 fights that have finished either halfway through the 3rd round or very close. So these guys clearly have a tendency for late stoppages or being stopped late. So I just thought I'd play the over 2.5, play it reasonably safe. We still get plus money on this one. Now, next we've got Matt Schnell versus Sumadaji. So this is really like a simple numbers play. So in the UFC, Matt Schnell and Sumadaji have a combined 14 fights, and every single fight has either gone the distance or it's finished under 1.5 rounds. So at plus 80 for the under 1.5 rounds, I'm absolutely taking those odds because they either go the distance or it ends pretty much within the first round or like 10 seconds into the second round. Sumadaji's got pretty good hands. He's definitely the faster fighter. Matt Schnell isn't that great on the feet. He's not great at anything. He's just an okay fighter, and that's why he is where he is. So I can definitely see a Sumadaji finish here or a Matt Schnell sub. Sumadaji's got 4 losses and they're all by sub. Schnell's got 8 by sub. So it says what might happen there in terms of a finish. So yeah, under 1.5, 1 unit at $1.80 plus 180 or $2.80. Now our next one is Li Jingliang versus Muslim Salikov. Great fight, this one. Love both of these fighters. Li coming off a bit of a rough one to Khamzat Chimaev, where he just got absolutely ragdolled and then choked out. It was pretty tough. So both, I said before, are super durable. They both got decent boxing. Both have like pretty decent wrestling. Salikov's really not gone to the ground very much during his fights at all. He mostly keeps it standing. It's quite a bit more technical than I would say that Li Jingliang is. So I don't think this is going to go to the ground at all. And I don't think the Leech is going to be able to take him down. So the fight will probably, I would say, take place on the feet. So I think Salikov is the more technical boxer, as I said before, but the Leech is probably faster and a little bit more explosive, I think. I think that he not necessarily has better hands, but he's got a bit more finishing upside, I think. So I think that's where the advantage for the Leech lays. The fight will more than likely go the distance, and I think the Leech is going to be able to hang with him and even take a round or two. So there's no reason he won't be able to keep it up and even keep it close. So what I've got here is the Leech via decision. So just half a unit, but it's at plus 425. I think that's a little bit crazy considering this is definitely going to go the distance, and he's got very good boxing. And look, he may get outboxed, but I think he's going to be able to keep it close, and I don't think Muslim's going to be able to knock him out. So just a half unit play here, but I'm excited to see how this one goes. Now next is an excellent fight, Ricky Simone versus Jack Shaw, which is somehow on the prelims and also not in UFC London, considering we've got a UK fighter here. This is the people's main event, but it's on the prelims. So whatever, it's just how it is. The UFC's kind of stupid sometimes, but that's whatever. So 2 great fighters, 2 excellent wrestlers, and they both have pretty decent hands. So the lines here, which is just blowing my mind, minus 140 on Jack Shaw and plus 140 on Ricky Simone. And, you know, like, why is that? I have no idea, but I imagine it's because people favour Shaw's unbeaten record. And, like, to be honest, he does definitely deserve the hype. I think he's a great fighter. I just think Ricky Simone's going to keep this a little bit closer than people suspect. You know, like, Ricky Simone's a dog, man. Like, he's got great wrestling, great scrambling, and very respectable hands. And he just has very good cardio too, and he always brings the volume. I actually do see this as a 50-50 fight. So this line opened at minus 110 apiece, and I would have taken Jack Shaw at that price. But at plus 145, you could be crazy not to take at least a small stab at Ricky Simone. Both of these guys will be top 5 bantamweights in 2 years easily, if not champions. I feel like it will probably take place mostly on the feet, where I give Ricky Simone the slight edge. But upon saying that, I think Ricky can definitely give him some issues on the ground because he's got such a good volume of takedown and takedown attempts, and he doesn't let go when he gets on. So I've got Simone via decision for just 0.75 units at plus 275 or $3.75, and then I've got 3.5 units on Ricky Simone, so 2.5 at the plus 127, and then 1 unit on the plus 145 now that the price has actually gone up further since I played these plays. So yeah, really excited for that fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think they're going to absolutely put on a show. They're going to go the distance, and I hope my boy Ricky Simone can get me that decision and cash me those units. Now, the last one we have is obviously Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. So it's a good fight here. It's a great fight here, actually. Boxing versus jiu-jitsu, if you will. So Yair obviously brings the boxing. Ortega, no shit, brings the BJJ. Some of the best in the division. Almost caught my boy Alex Volkanovski with a choke, but his neck's too fat. So I wasn't really entirely sure how I was actually going to play this one, or if I was going to play this one at all. But I watched my man Max Holloway, the guy with 2 submissions in the UFC, both more than 8 years ago, come like this close to subbing Yair Rodriguez, which is just insane. So if that's Brian Ortega, he taps out, no questions about it. So onto Yair. His last win was Jeremy Stephens in 2019, and prior to that was TKZ, or the Korean Zombie. But I think people forget that he was actually losing that fight, and he got locked out with literally the last second in the 5th round. Literally the last second, and he knocked out the Korean Zombie, and he was going to lose if he just didn't get knocked out. So I'm not saying he's overrated, but I'm saying he's ranked number 3 over guys on longer and better ring streaks. Just doesn't make sense to me. Ortega's super durable. I don't see a KO. He has decent hands. And I think the Volkanovski fight maybe made people forget the beating that he put on the Korean Zombie with his improved hands after the Max Holloway fight. So I think if Ortega can actually get his hands on Yair, which Max Holloway could, he's going to take him down pretty easy. And I think if he takes him down, it's going to be lights out, and he's going to choke him out. So the play here is I've got 1 unit on Ortega via sub, which is plus 300, which is insane, or $4. And then we've got 3 units on the Ortega straight at minus 164 or minus 161. Because Ortega is so durable, I actually don't see a super impossible scenario where Ortega actually wins by decision if he holds him down a little bit. Can't quite get the sub, but he controls him on the ground, moves around, does what he does. Don't see like a crazy possibility where that happens, but yeah, I think the sub at plus 300 is insane, considering he's got close to 10 subs in the UFC, and he's probably the best grappler in the division, or best jiu-jitsu artist in the division. Now, those are my best bets for UFC Long Island, Yair versus Ortega. So we're all done for today. Drop a comment below. If you have any fights that you want to see, I can have a look, get back to you. Follow me on Twitter, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.